Hi guys, welcome to Conan Fitness Exercise of the Month. This month we're reviewing a shoulder press and some variations of shoulder press. Great exercise for upper body strength, building the arms and shoulders of course, and we'll show you some ways to get the most out of it, particularly getting the best line of force and also the best range of motion to get the benefits out of a shoulder press. Let's firstly have a look at the posture we should be in. So if I get Carrie to turn side onto the camera there, what we're going to do is have the dumbbells up in a shoulder press stance position, and if we were to look at having the elbows directly in line with the shoulders, to do a normal shoulder press, this is quite common. If you do a full shoulder press, keeping the arms kind of like in that plane of motion, Carrie. Good. What you notice is that it's quite good for the shoulder. It does put a lot of, most of the majority of force on the front or anterior part of the deltoid because of the rotation of the arm there. And it also gives it quite a bit of a stretch on the front capsule of the shoulder, which isn't totally ideal. In fact, if you were to bring it even further back behind, like a lot of people do in their shoulder presses, they get a really big stretch at the front here. You can see that that's past in line with the shoulder. There's a gap here. Then that's going to be a big, huge load here, and you won't be able to go very heavy. You won't get maximal muscle contraction. Instead, what I'd prefer to do is just to relax the elbows, bring them ever so slightly forward. Here's where her back is. You can see there's an added angle there. And it's only a slight shift, but it'll put more tension on the muscle, particularly towards the middle fibers as well as the anterior deltoid, and take stretch off the capsule of the shoulder so there's not so much strain. And then you'll notice that you'll also get more range of motion out of it. For instance, if we have a look from the front, so facing the camera now, if we're to do a shoulder press like a lot of people do, if you go to around about holding it there, you can see the angle here of, here's where Carrie's shoulders are, here's where her elbows are, so there's only a slight dip, and there's all this range of motion that's missed. If you ever need a rest, you can pop the dumbbells down. So what we're going to try and do is increase the range of motion by getting the elbow. If you see that the joint here, once you're at full extension, go all the way up, Carrie, this is full contraction of the deltoid. Once we come down, if you come down to around about 9 degrees or just below, that's certainly not full stretch. We've got, if you were to try to take that off your hands and you straighten your arm there, see the angle that the arm's on, there's all of this range of motion left. It's kind of like doing a lateral raise, just like this, and missing out on all that bottom range of motion. So if you take hold of that, what we're going to try and do is free the shoulder up by bringing it slightly forward and getting more range of motion. Now go all the way up and bring the elbows as low to the ribs as you can without changing the shoulder, as in without pulling the shoulder blade forward. Just go to as low as it's comfortable. Great. Now if we have a look at that seated, we'll see how we can get the most out of it. So we'll need to bring that around to have a look. And this is one of the better variations to get the most out of your dumbbell press. So come from the front if you need to, but doing your shoulder press, Carrie, if you have a look now, what we can do to get most out of the range of motion is actually rotate the dumbbell ever so slightly, commonly known as an Arnie press, or an Arnie shoulder press. And by rotating it, you notice the elbows can come almost to the ribs. The dumbbells come ever so slightly to the front of the shoulder. So long as they're still outside of the shoulder, there's still tension on the deltoids. Now look at that angle. Now all she's going to do is rotate, press it out, upwards and together at the top, and controlling out and down at the bottom. Now you notice the range of motion that the shoulder joint is doing here, so push it out slightly. Good. And you can still keep width on it, keep it out, rotate it. Good. Now this deltoid muscle is doing much more work, much more range of motion. Let's now look at that with a barbell. So that's the Arnie press, and a better way to get a range of motion out of the shoulder joint. Let's take the bar. So looking, you can stand up for this one. So side onto the camera. If you do normal shoulder press, another common fault is the arch that people put in their back when they're doing the shoulder press standing, and they push the bar in front of the face. So again, if you do that, Carrie, you can have a look here. If this is where her natural line is and the bar's pushed in front of her body, this is going to put strain on the low back and not full contraction on the shoulders. So what we're going to do is press the bar up ever so slightly backwards and push the head forward. So you notice it's like a full contraction, a full press, and just hold it there. Carrie should be able to hold that there for quite a period of time. As opposed to holding it in front, it would fatigue quite early. And that's where we want to see the shoulder press finish. To make a more of a full body shoulder press, you can even just cushion the knees just to give it that little bit of added support. So long as the upper body posture stays still and doesn't yank backwards. Great. Feel okay?
Yep.
Perfect. And that's the best way to get the most out of shoulder press, whether it's seated with dumbbells, whether it's standing with bar. And finally, if we just change back to dumbbells, the last variation I'm going to show you is with the dumbbell grip in the hand and how it changes elbow angle. So if we pop the dumbbells up like a normal shoulder press, remember where our elbow position are, we can play with that angle, so doing just a couple of shoulder presses, And if we want to just add a bit of variation and change the angle from the elbow to the shoulder, just rotate the palms to face the ears, and you notice that the elbows point ever so slightly more forward, pressing up and down. Good, and you can let them push forward a bit, and by doing that it'll change the angle of the shoulder, where the shoulder's moving around the shoulder joint, and add a bit of variation to your shoulder press. So all the best, guys. Give a few of those variations a crack and try and get the most range of motion you can out of shoulder press. All the best.